Welcome to the League of Nerds comic book segment number 85. I'm John Cooney here to talk to you about comics released the 11th of September 2013. Beginning as usual with my first 5, meaning these are the first 5 books I intend to read this week, and I'll give you a little more depth on them, starting with number 1, Walking Dead number 114, with the solicit, What Would Jesus Do? Series writer Robert Kirkman spoke about the series at San Diego Comic-Con. Quote, The Walking Dead has always been about progression of time and building civilization over time, and a lot of people haven't realized what I've been building the book towards since issue number 1. Now things are going to escalate to the point where there are wars and huge conflicts on a larger scale. Close quote. Number 2, we've got X-Men number 5, Battle of the Atom Part 3. The X-Men and future X-Men pursue young Scott and Jean. Not all the X-Men agree that the all-new X-Men should be sent back. The cracks in the new all-female X-Men cast start to show. Senior editor Nick Lowe spoke about Jean's role. Quote, Not only is Jean one of the most important X characters of all time, but she's also been the center of all new X-Men since it launched. She's also got the most to lose if she and her friends get sent back in time, so she's definitely at the core of Battle of the Atom. Close quote. Lowe went on to discuss the central concept of predestination versus free will. Quote, That's definitely one of the dominant themes in Battle of the Atom. The other one is logic versus emotion argument centered around the out-of-time kids. Logic shows the all-new X-Men should go home, but emotion seems to beg to let them stay. Both of these arguments are huge to the story. Close quote. And number 3, we've got Mighty Avengers number 1, Infinity Tie-In. New ongoing series from the battlefields of Infinity comes the Mighty Avengers. The Avengers are light years away in space, contending with the Builders. Thanos' marauders ransack the Earth, doing as they please. Who will stand in defense of mankind? Luke Cage, the superior Spider-Man Spectrum, the White Tiger, Power Man, and a mysterious figure in an ill-fitting Spider-Man Halloween costume. These unlikely heroes must assemble when no one else can, against the unrelenting attack of Proxima Midnight. Series writer Al Ewing spoke about taking on this series. Quote, I'm conscious that I have big shoes to fill here, and also that I'm playing with a lot of people's favorite toys, and I should try very hard not to break them or use them badly. Close quote. As for the opening story, Ewing says, quote, Well, the first arc is the Infinity Tie-In, which basically means not one but 2 Thanos lieutenants coming to New York City. It's one of those there came a day situations where all the heroes on the scene band together to form a new Avengers team. It's happened before, it'll probably happen again. But let's get back to all the heroes on the scene. That's more than just the ones with superpowers. That includes first responders, firefighters, paramedics, police, and those ordinary people who don't make a career out of saving lives, but just automatically step forward in an incredibly dangerous situation to help their fellow human beings and stand up against those who'd hurt them. And people do stand up. In the real world, when something horrible happens, there are heroes who run toward it to help. They don't have unbreakable skin or energy powers, and they don't mill around like lemmings while big tough men carrying shields tell them what to do. They step up and they help out. That's kind of the theme of this series. No more A-lists, no more D-lists. No more looking down from towers and mansions. There might only be so many slots on the actual team, but if you're a person who helps people, you have as much value to the world as Luke or Monica or Thor or anyone else, and as much right to call yourself an Avenger. We're going to be tackling all the genres we can handle. There's comedy, there's horror, there's romance, there's what I understand people on Tumblr call the feels. There are big threats, little threats, and threats that can't be solved with a punch or an antimatter blast. There are creatures torn from the depths of hell, secret societies, corporate intrigues, vengeance quests, family squabbles, diapers that need changing, some laughs, some tears, some guest stars, a new HQ, new transport, a new way of doing things with a little of the old mixed in. I'm loving working on this book and I hope people will come and join us. Close quote. At number 4, we've got Star Wars number 9, on her own out in the wide galaxy while her friends struggle to escape the Empire and evade bounty hunters. Princess Leia steers her X-Wing toward the heart of all her grief, a place she longs for but should probably never revisit, the shattered ruins of her homeworld of Alderaan. The homecoming you've waited 36 years to see. Legendary Star Wars cover artist Hugh Fleming returns. Brian Wood of The Massive and Conan continues the best-selling original trilogy tale. Series writer Brian Wood spoke about his experience with the series. Quote, It's done exactly what I've wanted it to do, and more if you count the commercial success, which was a happy surprise for everyone involved. The first arc sort of naturally spread from 6 issues to 12, which is no small change from the initial plans, but it's a decently big story with lots of scene shifts and X-Wing dogfights and plots within plots, and we still have at least one major twist yet to come, and some pretty interesting scenes that show, in deeply personal ways, how Luke and Leia cope with their losses from A New Hope. Close quote. He went on to give more details on his use of Leia. Quote, In my first draft proposal, I tagged her at the end, Oh, and I really want to make Leia an X-Wing pilot. No explanation or argument, just this one line that I suppose could have been taken as a joke. I was deadly serious, but I wasn't sure how it would be received by either Dark Horse or Lucasfilm, but thankfully they took it as serious and agreed with it. No discussions. At least one of the editors was relieved, since I'm led to understand that much of Leah's EU depictions have been in her purely diplomatic role. So I went for it, made her the leader of the squadron of pilots, and gave her some serious chops. Every so often I get flack for it, but people who think Leah can't handle this role are people who just haven't paid attention to the films. On balance, what I've done with Leah is almost universal support amongst the people I've spoken to and reviewers I've read." Close quote. And at number 5, we've got Infinity the Hunt, number 1 of 4, Infinity tie-in. Hank Pym, Wolverine, and She-Hulk bring the students of the Marvel Universe together to announce a new Contest of Champions. This Contest of Champions pits the super students of schools all over the Marvel U, including some you've never seen before, against each other. However, the contest is interrupted when Thanos' forces descend on Earth. What do they have to do with the young heroes? Series writer Matt Kent spoke about reviving the Contest of Champions concept. Quote, "It's funny, everyone's been making a deal out of it, and I was just sort of an offhanded idea I had. I was a fan of the series when I was a kid. I didn't have it, and my brother had it. He's a little bit older. I would sneak into his room and look at it. It had all these crazy characters I had never seen, all the characters from foreign countries. Up until that time, I don't know if it had been done before. Even Secret Wars, that stuff is later. This was all before all that. It was the first time we'd seen all these guys together, the characters you'd never seen before. I've always kind of loved it. That said, you're not really going to get to see that. I just sort of mention it. It's not a fake out. It's setting up to do that, and then, well, blame Thanos for ruining the Contest of Champions, not me. The events of this are set off by Thanos in the main storyline, but it's basically about the schools and the kids. What are they doing during this? How are they dealing with it? What happens to them, and how do they work together or not work together? That was the thing that got me excited about it when they asked me to do it, dreaming up different schools other than the Jean Grey School and the ones we know." Close quote. Rounding out the top 10, at number 6, we've got FBP, Federal Bureau of Physics, number 3, previously Collider. Vertigo's strangest new series continues. While FBP agent Adam Hardy sticks to his mission, inside the Bubbleverse his partner Jay is carrying out a very different operation, one that will endanger them both and throw the world of Collider on its head. At number 7, we've got Avengers number 19, The Avengers, Prisoners of War, One Last Desperate Plan, Betrayal in the Galactic Council. Number 8, we've got Astro City number 4, Maddie Sullivan isn't a superhero or a villain. She uses her telekinetic powers to do special effects for movies and television. But when she's forcibly recruited by a new criminal mastermind, Maddie faces a choice. Will she fight, or will she continue to stay on the sidelines? A look into the lives of superhumans who've taken different paths and how they manage. At number 9, we've got Eternal Warrior number 1, New York Times best-selling writer Greg Pak of Planet Hulk and Batman Superman, and superstar artist Trevor Hairzine of X-O Manowar, X-Men Deadly Genesis launch a brand new campaign for Valiant's undying immortal champion, the Eternal Warrior, in an all-new monthly series. Across 5 millennia and thousands of battlefields, Gilad Anipada has traversed the darkest, most mysterious corners of the Valiant universe. But the horror and bloodshed of constant warfare has finally taken its toll on the man myth calls the Eternal Warrior, and he's abdicated his duties as the fist and steel of Earth for a quiet life of seclusion. But when a blood vendetta from a distant past suddenly reappears in the modern day, he must decide if he will return to the ways of war for the child who betrayed him thousands of years ago. And at number 10, we've got Ultimate Comics, The Ultimates number 30, the shocking conclusion of Ultimates Disassembled. Hold on, you said Kang is who? But that means has the Infinity Gauntlet. Nobody can stop them. Nobody except... For the best of the rest this week from DC Comics, we've got the 3D lenticular covers, starting with Action Comics number 23.2, General Zod. General Zod storms into the New 52. Witness the origin of this genocidal maniac and learn how far he'll go to destroy those who oppose him. Next, we've got Aquaman 23.1, Black Manta. Set loose as the secret society's plan unfolds, Black Manta is shocked to learn that Aquaman may be dead. Without the object of his hatred, how will Manta claim his final vengeance against the man who killed his father? Where will one of the most lethal villains alive turn his rage when he begins a new mission? We've also got Batman 23.2, The Riddler. With the Dark Knight out of the picture, the Riddler engages in an epic game of wits. Learn what maddening early moments led a young Edward Nygma to evolve into Gotham City's Prince of Mischief, and see how events of Zero Year continue to affect the Riddler today. Next, we've got Batman and Robin 23.2, The Court of Owls. The Court of Owls takes stock of the new world order created in the wake of Forever Evil. What horrors will they unleash in order to maintain control? We've also got Batman The Dark Knight number 23.2, Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze takes his obsessions over the line when he sets his sights on his newfound family and getting revenge on Batman. Next, we've got Detective Comics 23.2, Harley Quinn. If Dr. Harleen Quinzel wasn't crazy when she fell for the Joker at Arkham Asylum, she sure was messed up afterwards. Find out more from Harley's time with her beloved Mr. J, and see what got her into so much trouble that she was recruited for the Suicide Squad. We've also got Earth 2 number 15.2, Solomon Grundy. Grundy hates green, he hates life, and he hates Green Lantern most of all. So what made Grundy this way? Find out in the secret origin of Solomon Grundy. Next, we've got Flash 23.2, Reverse Flash. Discover the untold origin of Reverse Flash. Who is he and what is his relationship to Barry Allen? Secrets are revealed and questions answered as we race through the history of Reverse Flash right through to Forever Evil. Next, we've got Green Lantern 23.2, Mongul. Deep in space, an unstoppable force is committing genocide on a galaxy-wide scale, and only the strongest will survive. Be warned, because nothing can prepare you for an all-new war world under the absolute rule of the tyrant called Mongul. We've also got Justice League 23.2, Lobo. Deep in the dark corridors of space lives a black-hearted being of unimaginable power. He's witnessed horrors beyond description and committed unparalleled evils. In all of history, no being has ever been capable of as much chaos and terror as this lone individual. This is the story of the man called Lobo. He's coming, and he's bringing all of hell with him. Next, we've got Justice League of America number 7.2, Killer Frost. Not every villain is grateful to the Secret Society for ridding the world of the Justice League. For Killer Frost, only one thing matters, feeding off Firestorm's energy. But with Firestorm gone, a desperate Frost is forced to decide whether she should search for a missing hero or find a new source for her power fixes. We've also got Superman number 23.2, Brainiac. Brainiac was the first adversary Superman fought on Earth. But where did he come from? A lineage that spans the universe holds many secrets when we ask, who is Brainiac? And we've got Teen Titans number 23.1, Trigon. He's the ruler of 6 kingdoms of pain, suffering, and agony, but the one world that evades Trigon is Earth. Trigon's influence has been spread across the worlds by his sons, but it wasn't until he conceived a daughter of earthly origin that the monster finally had an heir who would aid his quest. Now, with all the world's heroes missing, is this the final victory of Trigon? From Marvel Comics, we've got Avengers Arena number 15, Boss Level Part 2. The UK love triangle explodes. Nara, Anachronism, Bloodstone, whose heart gets broken or stopped. You think you know Cullen's big secret? Guess again. Next, we've got Captain America number 11, Loose Nuke Part 1, a man further out of time. Captain America returns home to deal with the repercussions of his time in Dimension Z. Someone has set Nuke loose in a foreign nation and he's on a rampage. Who is the Iron Nail? We've also got Fantastic Four number 12, Things get desperate and the Fantastic Four have to mastermind a planetary heist for a technology that could save their lives. Next, we've got Fearless Defenders number 9. You know what Fearless Defenders have been missing? Dudes. It's not easy being an Asgardian shield maiden, especially when your boyfriend's got a chip on his shoulder. And Venom's not alone. He's brought Doctor Strange, Iron Fist, Hercules, Werewolf by Night, and a legion of significant others with him. Next, we've got Indestructible Hulk number 13, Hulk Agent of Time Part 3, guest starring the Black Knight. Chronicus in the time of Camelot with Merlin at their command. Bruce Banner is running out of time, literally. We've also got Uncanny X-Force number 11. Newly reunited, the members of Uncanny X-Force must cope with the fallout of their recent decisions. Bishop gives the team more information about the dangerous threats they face, but can he be believed, or is he only manipulating X-Force? Plus, the secret of the Revenants revealed. And we've got Wolverine number 9. Wolverine takes a road trip into the Valley of Death with Kitty Pryde, but there's a hefty bounty on Logan's head and every villain and mercenary is popping out of the woodwork to try and take him down. First up, Batrick the Leaper. From Boom Studios, we've got RoboCop Last Stand number 2 of 8. RoboCop's last stand as Frank Miller intended. RoboCop must defend the people of Detroit as a fighter for justice and a symbol for resistance. But will that be enough to prevent its hostile takeover and destruction? With the help of his newfound, beautiful, and mysterious ally, Marie, he may have a chance. From Dark Horse Comics, we've got X number 5. Disguised as harmless suburbanites, the Rents are actually psychotic assassins determined to take their place at the top of Arcadia's food chain. Lee delivers X's traditional warning, but ends up in a construction site firefight with some very unpleasant soccer moms. From Dynamite Entertainment, we've got Kevin Smith's The Bionic Man number 23. During his mission in China, Steve faces a life and death struggle against a truly wicked enemy and an army of indestructible battle mechs. The Bionic Man will have to rely on his wits and a strange new partner to escape this one alive. And we've got Red Sonja number 3. Completely isolated and near the brink of death, Red Sonja reflects on her lifetime of blood and pain, where she questions even her right to survive. But even in these last moments of life, enemies from her past return to make sure her death is not a peaceful one. From Image Comics, we've got Clone number 10 with the solicit, "If you come for us, we'll tell the world what you did." Next, we've got Manhattan Projects number 14, Upward Bound. Lines are drawn as the Manhattan Projects fractures. Who is on which side? Where are the lines drawn? Can anyone trust anyone? The great game called Future begins. The thrilling feel-good bad science series continues in the Manhattan Projects 13, Upward Bound. And we've got Sidekick number 2. The Moonglow twins were two of the Red Cal and Flyboy's greatest enemies. Now that the Red Cal is dead, one of them is returned with a vengeance. But whose vengeance and why? And what is the reason for her sudden interest in Flyboy? Is Flyboy about to find a reason to live and repair his life? Or is he about to hurtle down into even greater depths of madness and depravity? It's a monthly book. What the heck do you think is going to happen? The fun is seeing just how far he spirals downward and what's waiting for him when he hits bottom. And from Valiant Entertainment, we've got Archer and Armstrong number 13, and then things got really out of hand. When the war for the faraway descends into all-out chaos, can even the combined forces of Archer, Armstrong, Mary Maria, and a whole mess of dinosaurs be enough to defeat General Redacted and his 500 Shades of Grey? Also, a horrible revelation is about to tear apart the friendship between Valiant's conspiracy-busting adventurers. Learn why we may have to retitle this book Archer vs. Armstrong right here in the epic-spanning conclusion of Far, Far Away. Out in trades this week, we've got Hypernaturals Volume 2 trade paperback, The Universe Fights Back. It's the far future. The human race has finally colonized the galaxy, preserving an era of prosperity that's only possible because of the Hypernaturals. They're a celebrated galaxy-wide superhero task force that keeps the peace. That is, until they all mysteriously vanish. With their greatest enemy on the loose, the Hypernaturals are left with little choice but to pursue the only avenue of inquiry they have left, one that might save the Quintinuum or plunge the universe into a greater, more terrifying darkness. Collecting number 4 through 8 of the critically acclaimed series, The Hypernaturals Volume 2 has Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning, the superstar writing duo behind Annihilation and The Legion, team up with fan-favorite artist Tom Derenick of Justice League of America and Andres Guinaldo of Nightwing to take the cosmic superheroes to an all-new frontier. And we've got RoboCop Volume 1 trade paperback new printing. For the first time in years, fans will get a chance to see RoboCop 2 as Frank Miller envisioned. This series adapts the famous Frank Miller RoboCop 2 screenplay into an epic 9-issue run, full of malicious black humor, off-the-wall violence, and insanity. This book packs all the punches that fans crave from the sequel, and so much more. Okay, so that's just a few of my favorite books out this week. There's still plenty of others available, and I broke out all the Marvel titles this week into their own video, as well as a separate video for all of DC, and even a video with the top independent publishers, and you can find them all on my YouTube channel at he'sgotissues.com. And we'll also have links up on theleagueofnerds.com, our Facebook page, so be sure to like us there too. And of course, you can follow everything I'm reading on Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, or Twitter. You can find links to everything in the About section of he'sgotissues.com. And a reminder that both He's Got Issues and the League of Nerds are proud members of the Comics Podcast Network. So until next week, I'm John Cooney, and I've got issues.